So in this video, I'm going to talk about reasons why some women avoid men altogether, right? So it's kind of dealing with this video is kind of dealing with women who probably had bad experiences with men, and after they had these experiences, they decide to avoid men altogether, or they just avoid serious commitment, right? So even dating sometimes. So one of the first reasons why some women avoid men altogether is because some men think that going on dates and buying food, buying drinks, carrying them out to see different things or places, you know, exposing them to different experiences is equal to sex, is just automatic access to their body, to their time, to their energy. And some men may even think that after a couple dates, that would mean that they would get a commitment easily, right? So some women just avoid dating altogether just because of this reason, right? The next reason is that she was cheated on in the past, and we know there are negative effects of cheating. And I talk about love trauma in a recent video, right? Cheating have negative effects, and cheating and breaking up combined with lying and hiding things is not easy for everybody. It's not a small thing, and it's not easy, and it have effects. And the main effect is love trauma. And love trauma deals with, like, when you break up, you have flashbacks, you have nightmares, you obsess about the person, or you obsess about the event or the situation or what happened. Your sleep is disruptive, you have eating problems, you could start to eat too much, you could get obese, you could not eat enough. Anxiety, depression, chronic stress, and just dealing with breakup is not easy, and it causes all of these things. So having been cheated on and experiencing love trauma and heartbreak and getting all of these things happening, like flashback nightmares, like obsessing about what happened, like you could remember what happened like it was yesterday, even if it was years ago. Just experiencing that in the past with a man, being cheated on and going through breakup, and maybe more than one breakup, that could kind of cause somebody to, like, not want to be involved with men ever again. The next reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they've been lied to, right? And I'm not only talking about cheating and lying to cover up that they're cheating, but also like manipulation. Things like telling a sob story about their past or their ex-girlfriend and how she cheated, or, you know, lying as in pretending. Lying could also be pretending to show affection, show attention, and after a certain period of time they do that. You might have sex with them, you might open up and be vulnerable with them, and then relax with them and trust them, and you have sex with them, and then they might ghost, and they might do many other things. They could also use alcohol, have you drink, and then you kind of get in this state where you're vulnerable. They could take advantage of you. All of that is like lying. Or you could be in a relationship and they gaslight you. That's like lying. We talk about gaslighting already. When people make you question your sanity, make you question your memory, make you think that you're crazy. That's gaslighting, right? Some men pretend to like you, they pretend to love you, and then you might commit to them, and then they might have a mask on. They pretend to be a good person after a while, and then they probably will get what they want, and then they leave, or they just, like, start to not show up like they used to in the relationship or whatever. So some women might just think that there are guys out there who are not trustworthy, that they are not genuine, that they wear a mask, or that they don't want someone to pretend to like them, to pretend to love them, to pretend to care about them. Some men, they don't have good intentions, and that's the reason why some women would just avoid men altogether, right? They don't want to be taken for granted, they don't want to be used, to be lied to, and so on. Right? So the next reason why some women just avoid men altogether, they avoid dating, they avoid relationship, they avoid marriage, is because they have been with a man um who neglected them emotionally and physically, right? I'll focus a little bit more on emotional neglect, which is lack of attention. Things like failing to notice you, failing to attend to you, like not responding to you in a timely manner. Like there's no urgency to respond to you or to get to you. Um, you could feel like maybe she felt like she was alone in the relationship. Maybe there are issues and problems that come up when you're in a romantic relationship, and she may try to address them with him, and he could shut down, give silent treatment. All of this is emotional neglect. Giving silent treatment, not spending time with you, forgetting important dates like your birthday or just other, like anniversary or other important events, just making you feel unimportant by not remembering, like special things are important things to you, or important dates, right? Emotional neglect could also look like not moving the relationship forward, not making future plans, not going on adventure, not having children, not getting married, not planning vacation, not planning to like move forward in the relationship. It's kind of like stagnant and there's nothing happening in terms of progress. That's like emotional neglect. And also maybe she experienced a man like not helping her with her problems. Like she knows that when she have issues, she's on her own. She need to sort out her problems by herself because he's not there. So that's like emotional neglect. So having experienced a man who emotionally neglects her, that could be really painful. That could be really like a real bad experience, and she might decide that she is not going to date or be in a relationship ever again because of emotional neglect, right? And next reason why some women just avoid men altogether is that they have been with a man who was emotionally unavailable, right? And these some of these emotionally unavailable men, they start off really charming, they look interesting for a couple of weeks and couple of months, and then they look caring and fun and all of that, interesting, and then after a while you start to see who they really are, right? So after a while, you maybe she's dating or in a relationship, and she start to see that the man is like not making plans, not planning dates again, or just like everything kind of revolves around his schedule. He don't compromise. These are like signs of an emotionally unavailable man. And to experience somebody who don't compromise, who don't sacrifice, that could be really frustrating, right? You could be, if you were with an emotionally unavailable man, you were like texting first, you calling first, starting a conversation, carrying the conversation, planning dates, you're doing all the calling, you're doing all the texting, you're like trying to resolve all the problems, trying to make the relationship more like enjoyable and like satisfying, like on your own as the woman, right? So that could be really frustrating and really exhausting, and also emotionally unavailable men, they don't really commit, right? They would say they're not looking for something serious. They would say let's see where it goes. They would not really get into a commitment, and they could date you and go on and on for many months and years, right? And emotionally unavailable men, they have a wall up, they're distant, they're cold, they could be avoidant, they blow you off easy. They put, if you're in a relationship with one, they could put their friends before you, their family before you, many things, many treat you like as less important. If you bring up different issues about them, they're defensive, they're stubborn, they could be strict, they avoid hard conversations, and they sometimes, most of the times, they would not like hold space for you if you want to like share a negative emotion or some bad experience, or you have like big emo feelings that you want to share or you want to vent. They will not like hold space for you or try to listen to you. So that's an emotionally unavailable man. Being with them, dating them, that could be really exhausting and frustrating. And having experienced that, a woman might just not like avoid men altogether just because of that reason. A next reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they've been treated poorly, which could also mean they're being taken for granted. They're being like misguided or just treated badly. And treated being treated badly or being treated poorly does not only include doing bad things. It also includes what you don't do, right? So being treated poorly and being treated badly in a relationship or dating or marriage or whatever the situation is when the man stops taking you on dates, doesn't celebrate with you, doesn't surprise you, doesn't try to make you happy, disregards you, doesn't listen to you, act like you're not important, doesn't respond to you with any urgency. Your text, your call, doesn't call back, doesn't message you back with no. There's no urgency when it comes to you. He puts you last. He disrespects your time. He always late, and many other things. Treated poorly could be make decisions without you, leave you in the dark, not inform you of things that you should know, treat you like a stranger, never buy a gift for you, doesn't show affection, doesn't give you attention. The only time he might give you attention is when he wants to have sex with you. Treat other people better than you. All of this is being treated poorly, is being treated badly in a relationship, in marriage, in dating, whatever, right? Doesn't look good for you, doesn't take care of himself for you, doesn't try to make you comfortable in different situations, just he's basically just unconcerned about you and doesn't see you as a priority, right? And you would ask, like, why would a woman be with this type of guy? Well, in the dating stage and getting to know each other, it could have been amazing. They could have looked fun, looked interesting, and she could have had a good time getting to know him, and then people start to switch and change up, and then you might stay with them, the woman might stay with them thinking that they would change, or thinking that maybe they're going through a rough time and after they pass that they would change and get back to how they were when they were getting to know each other. And sometimes that never happened. Some people, they pretend, as I was saying, pretend to love you, pretend to be caring and kind until they reach the commitment stage and they have sex with you, and then everything just starts to fade away and decrease and they start to fall off, right? So that is another reason why some women would just avoid men altogether, because they were treated poorly, they were treated badly in their relationship that they had before marriage or whatever. The next reason is for most women who are married, like they haven't been married, they saw that they were left with almost all the chores and taking care of the kids, and at most of the time only used or given attention when their partner want to have sex with them. So some women just don't want to, even women who never got married might just don't want to get married because they don't want to experience this type of situation where they're doing all the chores, taking care of kids by themselves, right? They don't want to ever experience that at all. And there are some women who were married, they got divorced, and you could hear that some women express the relief of like not being married and not having all of these responsibilities by themselves, right? Maybe they probably got someone to help them with the chores, got someone to help them with the kids, and they have more free time to take care of themselves and to do the work. They probably thought that the person that they was going to get married would help them with this, and like that did not happen, right? So yes, and some women they get divorced and they never want to get married again, and they never want to be involved with a man ever again, right? The next reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they experience being in a relationship with a man where the relationship was not moving forward, right? They never moved to a serious commitment in a good enough timing or ever. They were in a stagnant relationship for many years. And I already did a video called Why Men Stay With You for Many Years and Never Marry You. And in that video I mentioned, I will just gloss over it right now, is that a man could stay with you, date you, be in a relationship with you for many years just because he don't want to be alone, just because he likes your company, he would not be alone. Another reason, you're a placeholder. You're there until he finally meets the one that he really loves, that he really wants to be with. You could be helping him build his finances and helping him get better opportunities to build his money or whatever, and he likes that, so he just stay with you. And most of the time what I see when men evolve and they build their finances, they build their career and so on, they move on to someone else, right? That could be really painful and really hurtful. Yes, so another reason why men stay with you and for many years and not move the relationship forward is because, like, you could be acting like a wife. You probably started to act like a wife because you believe that at some point, like, you would get married. Like, he would ask you to marry him, or he would move the relationship forward towards a more serious commitment, and like that kind of never happens. But you act like a wife and he likes that benefit, so he just continues to be with you. The another reason why is that he knows you're not going anywhere, you never left, you never break up with him, so you're still there and you continue to be there, so he just continue to be with you without marrying you, right? Some men, they also do not like to date, they do not like the dating process, so if they could like be with you easily without dating you and you be with them, they just continue to be with you, but they might never marry you because you're not the one that they want to like marry, or they're not in love with you, right? Sometimes another situation, the woman that they really want to be with, the woman that they love, they're in a different country, they're really far away, and they might not be able to connect or meet or live together or bring their lives together at the moment, so like you're just there. In the meantime, he figures out how to like come together and reunite and be in union with her, right? So sometimes a man will be with you long, very many years, because there's no love involved. He has been hurt before and he don't want to be in love again, but he don't want to be alone, so he just be with you and not love you, and he don't really have to do anything to like keep you, and you still hanging on there thinking that he's going to marry you or he's going to have a serious commitment. So if a woman have experienced any of these reasons, like being with someone for many years and they never asked to marry, and then you finally decide to leave after 8 years, after 10 years, and so on, you might never want to be involved with a man ever again. And that is one reason why some women decide that they will never be involved with a man ever again, because they experience men taking a very long time to commit, or they hide their intentions, right? They hide their intentions, then you finally leave, and then they break up, and you see how much years you have wasted, how much years of your life and time and your energy and everything you have wasted waiting and thinking that this person was going to marry you, commit to you, and they never did, and they had different intentions. It's like if you're a placeholder or something like that. Another reason why some women just avoid men altogether is because they want to focus on their happiness, right? They want to focus on enjoying life without worrying about someone else's needs, without worrying about someone else's expectations, without worrying or hearing someone else's opinion. You know, she might want to just do things on her own pace, do whatever she wants on her own time, and have peace and not worry about trying to change for someone, or not hear her weakness being highlighted constantly. Like, they just want to be free and happy and peaceful, because some women think that being involved with a man brings stress, and it brings complication, and it's sometimes a man could come into your life and he brings problem, and your life seems to be worse with him. So they just want to focus on the happiness and not create any chance for someone to disrupt their peace and to be free. Another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they want to evolve, and they want to like grow without distractions. Distractions, I mean, like the problems and issues that comes with being with another person. They want to grow and evolve and develop themselves without experiencing some sort of heartbreak, without experiencing some painful situation that will deal with a romantic like situation. You know, while being involved with a man, you could break up, you could have different hurtful and painful experiences, and they just want to grow and develop themselves without having to deal with that. So the woman might decide that she might realize that there are some weaknesses, and she wants to like build her self-esteem. She wants to have more self-confidence. She wants to realize her worth and learn from her mistakes in the past, right? She might want to develop her career, or like develop her family life, or work on her social life, or work on whatever goals that she may have, and whatever aspirations that she have at that time. And she want to build her strengths and work on different parts of herself that she might not like, so she could feel like happy and whole with herself. Many goals she might have that she wants to focus on, her career goals, money goals, might have platonic relationship goals and spiritual goals. Whatever goals she have, she want to focus on them and achieve them without having the distraction or being set back by some sort of heartbreak or like a painful situation that could come about while being involved with a man, right? Another reason why some women avoid all men altogether is because they had too many disappointments in past relationships. Even when they compromised, even when they made sacrifices for the man in the relationship, they worked on their weaknesses because they wanted to like preserve the relationship or continue being with them. They became a better woman for the man, and they just still never get that in return from the man. So there's too many like failed relationships and putting a lot of effort in themselves and also in the romantic relationship, and they're not like getting back the same effort. So just like they've been disappointed a lot, and then they just decide that they're just going to avoid men altogether. Another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they have experienced an emotionally immature man, or men more than one. They could experience this. There's a lot of them out there. Men who, when I say emotionally immature, they lack communication skills. I talked about this before. Lacking communication skills, not knowing how to like resolve conflict in a peaceful, healthy manner, stonewalling you, just like avoiding you when there needs to be like some important conversation, or like some pressing issue, or like the same problem keep coming over and over again, and they like avoid you. They might ghost when there's a difficult situation. They might disappear. Emotionally immature men, they could pretend to be single. They lie. They lack, they're not honest. They don't have open communication, and they lack listening skills, they lack empathy, they can't sympathize with you. They're stubborn and stoic and really rigid when you're emotionally immature, and not knowing how to resolve conflict. Being with somebody who do not know the best way to how to resolve conflict, who ignore problems, who avoid conversations, and who like disrespect you, it's really frustrating and it's really annoying, especially if you as a woman you're trying to develop yourself, or you already on your journey and know how to communicate properly and resolve problems, and you have like this immature man that you probably like, you're probably into, you're probably attracted to, you're trying to like walk with him or teach him how to resolve conflict or teach him how to listen attentively, and it's like it's not working. They stonewall you, use silent treatment, a lot of immature things they do. And being with someone like that who you really like, who you might be in love with, it could be really heartbreaking and painful to be with someone like that, because you can't get through them. They are defensive and they're just like probably had some bad like they have some childhood trauma with their parents or whatever, and it's not resolved, and yeah, you just like not on the same path. So that could be really painful if you like break up with them, and you probably would not want to. Some women just avoid men altogether because they don't want to like experience this again, and there's a lot of emotionally immature men out there, right? Next reason why some women avoid men altogether is because women are starting to realize their worth and their value, right? So women today are now like they're not settling for less than they deserve. So women are staying single until they meet somebody who could like meet their needs and meet their requirements, right? So today is like different, women they have their own money, they are independent. So men kind of need to like work on different things, which I mentioned before, on what men need to work on, or how to love a woman. There's a whole long list of things that I believe men should work on today to like actually have a successful relationship. And money was like your finances and your career, which is very important. You need to be a provider or whatever, but there are other things that men need to work on today, because women, they have their own money, they have their own career, they are independent, and you kind of need to work on other things. What I mentioned, for example, communication skills, listening skills, knowing how to resolve conflict, helping with chores. I can't remember all of them right now, but I do have a video on what men need to work on, how to love a woman, right? So women are just staying single because they kind of want more than your money, your career, your status, whatever. So women would just stay single until they meet someone who could meet their needs and their requirements. And if they don't meet that man who would meet their requirements, people like women today want companion, they want to be treated well, they want to be respected and all of that. And if a woman decides like they're not getting that, they choose to be single. So they avoid men altogether, right? Until the right man shows up. Or if he never shows up, they will be single forever. Another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because some men leave and they give up in hard times, right? Some men check out of the relationship secretly, especially marriage. They check out secretly, they do not say anything, they check out, and they go and cheat when they have difficult situations in their relationship and in their marriage, or they're experiencing some sort of hard circumstance in their own life or in the relationship itself, and they check out silently, they don't talk about it, and they start cheating, or they give up and they leave, right? Most of them would not really give up, they might just check out secretly and cheat, right? So there could be many different problems or situations that comes up in a relationship. Sometimes it's just small problems, sometimes it's just big problems. Sometimes, it's small problem where the woman might gain some weight. Maybe she was pregnant and she gained some weight, and maybe she becomes unattractive to him or something like that. So that would be an immature man. If a woman get pregnant, obviously she would gain some weight, and if you are automatically like finds her unattractive and go and cheat, that's a really big weakness. But what I'm saying is just some men, like, when there's a issue or there's a difficult moment in their life, or maybe the woman have there's postpartum depression, there's financial problems, there's if you have children, there's child caring difficulties could come up, there's mental health problems, somebody could get really sick, somebody could lose their job. So like, men could feel like they're neglected, they're not appreciated, and they don't see anything, and these are problems that comes up. And they could be emotionally immature, they could be like they don't know how to talk about feeling neglected, or not feeling attracted to the woman anymore. Just like they don't know how to resolve problems and talk about problems, resolve conflict and communicate in a healthy manner. So they just like check out and cheat. And so, having experienced that as a woman, the woman might just like avoid men altogether after experiencing something like that, right? Another reason why some women they just avoid men altogether is because this probably still feel tied to the ex. They still hope that their ex come back. So she probably would just stay single and avoid all men altogether until this man comes back, which he might never come back. They might be already broken up. He might say that he's never coming back and that it was a bad experience and they break up for whatever reason, but like, maybe because of obsession or not being able to move past the breakup or whatever, she just still feels tied to her ex and avoids dating and getting in a new relationship with other men because she thinks that he's coming back or she's waiting for him or something like that. That's a situation I've seen before. Another reason why some women avoid men altogether, they avoid dating, they avoid serious commitment, they avoid marriage, is because she have been used by a man before, used for money, used for a place to stay. It's many things. Most of the time it's basic needs. Used for transport, used to move up in life, like used to get, maybe she could help him get a better job or help him like get better opportunities so he could build his money. So, used for whatever, used for sex, used for many things. And in return, this man would like act affectionate and have sex with the woman and show that he's giving attention and giving affection, and just use sex in a manipulative way to make her think that he loves her, he cares about her. But eventually she might realize that she's being used for whatever reason, and then they break up and she decides that she would never be with somebody ever again and avoid all men together because she don't want to be used by a man ever again, right? Another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because she is at a period in her life where she's building up herself, right? And she's trying to move away from past unhealed, especially childhood trauma that could interfere with your romantic relationship when they're not really resolved or looked at, right? So she's trying to resolve that, trying to leave baggage behind from past romantic relationships, trying to leave the past behind or move on from hurtful things that men have done to her, and having a serious commitment. It might be too much while she's trying to heal childhood trauma or heal love trauma from the past. So she's trying to build herself up, like what I mentioned before. It could be like lack of worth, don't see her value, lack self confidence, lack self esteem, or maybe some women also have communication skills and she's trying to build that up, and being with someone could kind of interfere with that process. Like if you're healing from whatever anxious attachment style or whatever problem you have mentally, being with someone could kind of trigger it and make it worse. So she decides to like avoid men altogether in a certain period in her life, or just like forever, right? So another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they were in a relationship, a serious commitment, or marriage, and they felt drained and they felt exhausted with like no energy left over for themselves. So basically, they give 90% of themselves to the relationship, to this guy, and then they get back like a 10% from them in return. So for example, this woman might be in a serious commitment, she might be in a marriage or whatever, and she gave attention to him. She listened to him. She cared about him. She's kind to him. She's loving to him. Um, she listened actively to him. She bought him gifts. She called him. She texts him consistently. She did house chores. She respect him. She gave him space, what men ask for. Number one thing, to give space. She was affectionate. She was spontaneous. Remember his requests. She was understanding, support him, see his point of view. Stay faithful, never cheat. Be faithful. Yeah, trust him. Be faithful, and all of these things. And just got back 10%. Doing all of these things, and just getting back 10% in return. Like, it's not mutual. And being in a relationship, serious commitment or marriage, where you're doing all of that as a woman and you don't get back, and you get back 10% and you do all of this, could be really exhausting. And it could really be like you're wasting your effort, you have wasted your time, you have wasted your years, you waste your attention, your energy, and you do all these things and you just get back 10%. And that could be really frustrating and heartbreaking and painful, right? And especially exhausting. So having experienced that, especially if you probably had a divorce or you break off from somebody you've been with for many years, this could be really heartbreaking and painful. And that is why some women would decide to never be involved with a man ever again, right? Because they give 90% and the man give 10, right? So another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because, like, sharing personal space is annoying. Some people, some women, they like the personal space, and to share a home or whatever could be like annoying and frustrating and just like bothersome to them. So they don't want to do that. They like their personal space. I've heard women say that men ask to move in with them and they said no because they want their personal space. They don't want to share anything with a man. They don't want to feel frustrated and annoyed sharing space. So they just avoid men altogether. Another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because they're in their 30s or their 40s and they believe that there's no point in dating again because of their age, or having a serious commitment with a man would be like useless because they believe that most men care about their purity, their youth, and their beauty, and as you age that kind of goes. But they're in their 30s and their 40s and they think that, especially if you listen to a lot of podcasts and men complain about women constantly, you would really think that, yeah, you're useless and there's no point in dating if you're 30, in your 30s or your 40s, right? So that's why I stopped listening to negative things, especially men talking bad and talking down about women. So you might think that it's useless to date because can't have children anymore, you don't look as youthful, and you're not pure or whatever. Like some women they think that and they just say, you know what? There's no use to date or be in a serious commitment. This man would not take me seriously. They would use me, which could be true. They might not take you seriously because of your age. They might use you and like dispose you, whatever. But that is one reason why some women just avoid men altogether, because they're over 30 or 40, in their 40s or something like that. Another reason why some women just avoid men altogether is because dating and being in a romantic relationship for them is not a priority, it's not the number one goal, you know. They are more focused on their career and building their finances and building their social life, you know. They might decide that they want to have more platonic friends, which seem to be more fulfilling and more long lasting and more rewarding to them and less stressful without issues and different problems that could feel painful and heartbreaking. So romantic relationships and dating and men might not be their focus. It might just be their career, their social life, their money, their friendships, and so on. It might not be a priority to that woman. The next reason why some women just avoid men altogether is because she don't want any drama coming up. Like dealing with drama in a romantic relationship, like competing with other women, and like being with a man and other women competing with you and trying to be with him could be annoying and frustrating and just like bothersome. So especially with social media today, social media could cause a lot of drama, you know. And just having social media and being able to send direct messages and slide in people DMs and send photos, and you can see conversations, and there's other woman could be texting your man or calling your man, or you know, just like being involved with who you're with could be annoying. Other women competing, and especially if the man is like entertaining other women using social media, and and other women are calling you and texting you about the relationship or the situation they have with your man, could be like really mix up and like causing drama and just like an extra problem that you don't want to have, right? So and these psychological games that people play and manipulations that people do online today could be really stressful, and it causes a lot of confusion when it comes to dating and being in a relationship. When you have social media, who you're liking pictures could cause problem. If women comment on the guy's photo, like they put flirty comments or they put hearts, or they say like flirty things and sexual things below their post and whatever, just like being on social media and seeing all of this, and people could text easily and they could like have easy access to other people really easily. It's just that she want to avoid that. She want to like protect her peace and invest in herself mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, and just don't want to deal with like other women competing for her man, like especially on social media, especially if she might be like a private person or something like that. So just avoid men altogether. Another reason why some women avoid men altogether is because there's this possibility that they could experience soul ties, that they could catch feelings too quickly for the wrong person, or like they could, like there's this thing called trauma bonding, which I don't know much about as yet. Um, and just being overly attached to like the wrong man because you probably had sex with them. So some women avoid men altogether because they don't want to be obsessed with a man because they had sex with him. And we know, which I mentioned before in some video, I can't remember, there is this love hormone that is released. I think it's oxytocin. This people call it the love drug or the like cuddle hormone or whatever, and it's associated with trust and like sexual arousal and building of the relationship and attraction. You know, it also increases like when you hug and when you experience an orgasm with a man. So when you experience an orgasm with a man or multiple orgasm with this man, it might lead you to think like you're in love and you're obsessed with him, or you think they're your soulmate, or you think they're your twin flame, and you kind of get blinded by the sex and blinded by having orgasms with this guy. So you start to fall in love with them, and you don't really, sometimes you don't really know who this man is, and you fall in love with the wrong person, and they could have like bad intentions, and it could be a whole mess. So some women avoid men altogether just because of that trauma bonding, soul ties, having a really good sexual experience and having orgasms and falling in love quickly and catching feelings and thinking you belong together and all of this, which I don't know if it's true about soulmates and twin flame or soul ties or trauma bonding, which I can't really expand upon right now because I don't really know much about this. But I've heard about this, and I could definitely understand the love hormone and having orgasms with a man and fall in love with them, and then you might want to be with them and want to be in a relationship with them, and you think they're for you, and it's just the sexual experiences that is blinding you and clouding you of your judgment. So that's another reason why some women avoid men altogether. The last reason why some women avoid men altogether is because of unwanted, they don't want to be pregnant, they don't want to get STDs, they don't want to get AIDS, and healthcare and cost of medication is like, it's high, just don't want to experience having a child when you don't want, or getting STDs and AIDS, which obviously you could use protection and so on, but things happen, right? And I will just talk a little bit about pregnancy. Like, you could be really afraid to get pregnant, pregnancy changes your body, and you could when you get pregnant or you had a child, you could get bladder leaks. Your breasts get big during pregnancy, and then after it shrinks, and then your breast drops, and you could get stretch marks, and people get like dark patches in their face, and that takes a long time to go away, and you could gain weight, and many things. Your hips come wider, your ribs wider, your feet wider, and all of these things could happen to you, and that is something you might not want to experience, or you're not ready to experience. And some men, when you gain weight and you're going through all of these things, they tend to cheat, and you might not want to experience that, right? It takes several months to lose the weight. You might gain weight, you get pregnant, and it takes a couple months to lose the weight, and they could think that you're unattractive or whatever you go through when you're being pregnant, and you get a baby, and you need to like get back your body, and going through all of that, the man might not be able to like deal with that, so he cheats or whatever. So women might not want to like go through that, might not want to experience that. Or you with someone, could be a situationship, could be a relationship just started or whatever, you got pregnant, and then the man might think that it's not his child, or you cheat on him, or which could be possible, but whatever, you cheat on him, whose child is this? Or they just could like leave you with the child to like take care of by yourself, and you might not want to experience that. So you avoid men altogether, you avoid being pregnant, you avoid all of these things. Many things could happen to you when you're pregnant, your hair might start to grow a lot, and then you bought the child, and then your hair come back to normal, and your hair might fall out, and then to get back your hair is like a long process again, and whatever. Men cheat on their wives when they're pregnant, when they're overweight, and when many things could happen after pregnancy and so on. So to avoid all of that complications, and to be left alone when you are in a vulnerable state during pregnancy, after pregnancy, and being cheated on when you're pregnant and all of that, are contracting STDs and being cheated on and whatever. Many of these things you just want, some women will just want to avoid all of these complications and avoid men altogether. So those are the many reasons why women could avoid men altogether, and most of it is because of like the past experiences they had, being cheated on and being lied to, especially if you trust that person. You are betrayed or something like that. It's not easy, and it's not a small thing. So when some women like avoid men altogether, I don't judge them. People deal with their problem different, they deal with their trauma different. If they want to deal with it in a way where they avoid men altogether, so they are not hurt and they're not in painful situations, they're not heartbroken, they're not stressed out, they don't want any flashbacks, nightmares disrupting their sleeping, they don't want to eat too much and they don't want to experience this thing ever again, being lied to and betrayed. So they just avoid men altogether. They want to heal their trauma, they avoid men altogether. If that is the way that they heal and they feel safe, and that is the road they want to go, I don't judge at all. Experiencing immature men, emotionally unavailable men, emotionally immature, not knowing how to deal with conflict, men treating you poorly, and I talk about things that you don't do as poor treatment, not disregarding your opinion, not taking you on dates, not moving relationship forward, keeping you in the dark. All of this is poor treatment, and experiencing this with somebody you love, you care about, you may love them unconditionally or whatever, and they disappoint you. You give your 90% in the relationship, you listen to them, you call them, you be affectionate, you remember their requests, you stay faithful, you trust them, you care about them, you love them, you treat them with kindness, you forgive them, you give them attention, and you get 10%. That could be really hurtful and that could be really painful, and that's why some women, they avoid men altogether. And I mentioned, you might ask, well, why are you being with these type of men? Well, some men start off really fun, really interesting, they look like they care, they give you attention, they called you, they text you, they went on a few dates, they listen to you, and then you commit to them, and then you have sex with them, and then they could fall off the earth, or they could just fade and decrease the things that they did bit by bit, and you could already be in love and hooked, and you stay there and you wait and you waste your years, you waste your time. So that is the many reasons why women might avoid men altogether. And I think men could use this video to see where they are messing up, where they are going wrong, so they could use it to like fix their relationship or be better, right? So that's all I have for this video. I know it was long. If you are still watching up to this point, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.